So my name is Mina. Welcome to Knitting Expat Podcast. I am trying something a little bit different this time around. As I mentioned on the last podcast, I'm going to be trying to do a more vlog style podcast where I record little bits here and there over a couple of weeks and then put that all together rather than having to do one big sit down session. Just want to see how this goes. I've seen a few other podcasters try it out and it seems to work well, so I'm hoping that with the little baby that this might fit in better with just day-to-day life in general. Sometimes I find it hard to carve out a couple of hours of time when I'm home with Layla on my own to just sit down and record, so I'm thinking this might be a little bit better. So yeah, so Layla and I are just hanging out on the sofa. She's in her little chair. She loves it. She's been wanting to sit up since she was like 10 weeks old, so well, she can't sit unsupported. It was getting very tiring for me having to hold her up like that all the time. So someone's a little bit grumpy. It's almost her nap time. It's a little bit early, but yeah, so just trying to get it to last for another 10-15 minutes or so before I take her to bed. And yeah, so right now I'm actually working on publishing this month's sock pattern. So the New York Sock Club is running. Today's the 1st of August, so the 6th pattern is now coming out. And so I'm just doing the final touches for that on Ravelry for the pattern page, and I'm going to have that published, and the pattern will be sent out to everyone who's already subscribed. And yeah, so there's only one more month left after this one. 1st of September is going to be the last pattern, and it's been so much fun doing this. I think I might think about doing another one for next year. I might do like a whole year's worth, but split it into two different clubs so that it's not too overwhelming for people who don't necessarily want to sign up for a whole 12 months. But it's just an idea. Yeah. Hi. Yeah. At least she just wants attention, which is fine. She's allowed that. But yeah, so there's that. And also pre-sales are going up for the mystery knit along today as well, so that's really exciting. That's going to be kicking off. The first clue will be released on the 2nd of September. All the other details are on the pattern page. And yeah, so you can order the pattern now. Obviously there won't be any actual pattern information, actual pattern in the download, but the download will have all the information you need with regards to like yarns and stuff like that that you will need to have on hand for the pattern, and needle sizes, gauge, all that sort of stuff. Hey love. Hi. It's okay. I wanted to get all that information out in one place for you guys, so if you did want to take part, you'd have time to sort out all your bits before it starts. Alright, I better get going, finish off publishing those patterns and tend to this one. So I have little baby feet because Layla was obviously a little bit, as you can tell in the last clip, unhappy about being in the chair on her own. She wanted to be cuddled, so that's fine. We're cuddling now. I've got Hugo over here keeping me company whilst I finish publishing this pattern. So let's get going. Boom. Okay, so I'm just going to finish doing this and getting the pattern sent out to people, and yeah, I'll check back in a bit later. Okay, so they are both live now. The Road to Rhyback Mystery Knit Along is now live, as well as the Central Park Socks pattern. And for this pattern, I've got the socks here to show you. I use Sweet Sparrow yarns on her nut hatch base, which I believe is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon blend. Super soft. Sorry, I've got the sniffles, allergies and such. And this is the pattern on it. There we go. It's a lovely sort of eyelet pattern, and the pattern is based on ribbing, so it is nice and stretchy, so it's good. And with the eyelets as well, it adds a little bit more stretch to it, so this will be a great one for gift knitting, as it will be accommodating for a variety of sizes. And yeah, this is how they turned out. I think they're really beautiful. I really love how this one has turned out. It's a really fun, super simple knit. It's I believe it's a 4-row repeat, if I remember correctly. I knit this a while ago, and there's only 3 rows are the same essentially, so it's a very easily memorizable pattern. And yeah, there they are. coffee. While Layla's squealing in the background. Enjoying my morning coffee while Layla has fun playing on her toy. Alright, so I've finished knitting the ribbing for this hat. So I didn't actually talk about this yesterday. I showed it a little bit in the previous clips, but this is, I'm redoing a couple of designs that I've got coming out later this year. I actually did these designs last year, I just never got around to releasing them before we moved and Layla was born. So I'm just kind of revamping them a little bit and adding some more sizes. This hat was originally knit out of a bulky weight, and I kind of wanted to do it in a worsted weight. So I'll have the bulky weight instructions in the pattern as well in case you want to do it in that size, but I'm doing it in a worsted weight, and there's going to be plenty, like 4 different sizes for this hat. So this is the third out of the 4 sizes, so this is like the first adult size. And I've knit the brim. I'm going to do my folded brim, and I thought I would just quickly show you how I do that. So I basically knit the ribbing for twice as long as I want the brim to actually be. So for this hat's going to be a roughly, I think this is actually probably a little bit longer. I was going for a 3-inch brim, but this is looking, so I was going to knit 6 inches, and I think I've actually knit more like 7 inches, but it doesn't matter either way. And then you just fold it, and this is without doing a provisional cast on. Obviously you can do it with a provisional cast on and join that way. My pattern has all of that sort of stuff detailed out. It also has this method sort of included as well, if in case it's something you're interested in trying. You fold it in, so that's the working yarn and that's the tail end, and with the tail end you can find where the start of the round is and join that up with where the beginning of your work is. I'm holding this with one hand, so I'm going to try and set this up in a way so I can show you what I'm doing. Okay, you guys would actually be laughing if you saw how I had this all set up to try and show this to you, but anyway, so I've just done the first one just to join it, so I'm not fiddling around too much and I can show you this more clearly. So you put the needle through the first stitch on like the working yarn, on the live stitches, then you go to the cast on edge and you just pick up one stitch from the brim, pull the yarn through that, pull the yarn through the front, and there you go. You've just joined the brim to the live stitches, and then you just keep going around, picking a stitch from the cast on, knitting it to the one in front. So essentially you're knitting 2 together all around, but picking up a stitch as you go for your second one. Apologies for the poor lighting, it's a really grey day today, and I have some other lights on which is casting a bit of a yellow glow. But this is not really a tutorial, more just a quick demonstration of how to do this. So there you can see where the stitches are starting to get joined, and that's where you're going to end the round, and just keep going round and doing all the stitches until you've got them all joined together. And the best part about this is it doesn't have to be super neat and perfect with picking up stitches on the inside, because it's on the inside and no one's really going to see that too much. So yeah, there's that. And this yarn, this beautiful sort of greens and blues and purples yarn, is by my friend Josie of Dubai Knits. She dyes yarn as Dubai Knits, and I believe she has a website as well, which I've linked in the past in the show notes, but it's called Dubai Knits. I think it's just DubaiKnits.com. If you Google it, you'll find it. And this is on her worsted weight, which is her Cloud 9 base, and it is super soft in the Impressions colourway. It's 100% superwash merino. So yeah, really love it. It's going to look beautiful in this design. And yeah, just wanted to share where I'm at with you on that one. I started this yesterday, so I've just done the brim and working on joining that together, and then I'll get started on the patterning. Alright, so Perry's socks are ready for the heels now. He likes a nice long leg.
which I know I've mentioned a few times. So I think this is something like 85 rows after I did a 20 row cuff. And for the first time for his socks anyway, and first time in a while, I'm doing the patterning on the front and the back. Because it's a spiral pattern, I thought it would be quite fun to have it spiraling around the front and the back of the sock. So yeah, I didn't spiral them in the opposite direction. This way when he puts when his legs are together, they sort of spiral in the same direction all the way around. I thought it was quite fun. It's super wet and rainy outside. I get home to find Hugo staring out the window, seeing what's going on. It's been thundering. Oh, thanks for showing off your bum there, Hugo.
Yeah.
Morning guys, so I realised I haven't actually shown you my pinwheel scrap blanket in a while. So this bit at the top here, to 3 squares deep by 5 squares wide, this is how big it was sorry, when we left Bahrain. And then once we got to the US, I finished these 5 blocks around Christmas time, before the new year. Most of this block and this block are scraps from my sockathon that I did January 2016, and the rest are from other projects that I knit last year. This one is a lot of design projects in this square, and this one as well, though there are some designs in this one that I haven't actually released yet. So yeah, some good memories in this strip. So I finished this and I seamed this together sort of around the end of last year, beginning of this year, and I just haven't got around to seaming it to the rest of the blanket yet. And then recently, or since Layla's been born, I've finished a further 5 blocks. I'll show you these here. I showed these on the podcast, or as they were finished, but I thought I'd lay them all out here for you so you can see how that looks. I haven't sorted out the sort of positioning yet, where each block is going to go, or whether this strip gets attached first or the other one. Sorry, you can hear Layla in the background. She's in her little jumper, having a good old time. Yeah, so then I've got these 5 to attach together as well. And once I get these seamed together, I'll probably seam this strip and that strip to the blanket, and then the blanket will be 5 by 5 wide. Big. So yeah, that's the progress so far. I'll check back in, I guess, whenever I get back. We'll get these all seamed together to show you what that looks like. So I'm out in Union Square today with Layla. She's sleeping right now, but yeah, we've realised I have to get some new clothes for her because she's outgrowing her sleep suits, and they're all a little bit too short for her now, so I had to get some new ones. And yeah, just sort of wandering around while she sleeps. Hey honey. Alright guys, so I'm in Michael's at the moment looking at the acrylic yarn. I'm planning on making a little baby mobile for my sister-in-law for her baby, and I might even make one for Layla as well, but I wanted to do it in rainbow colours, and I don't have a lot. I was planning on using my scraps as well, but I don't have a ton of yellow and orange. So far I found these 2, but I want to see if I can find some smaller balls. I really don't need that much yarn, so we're hunting. So in the end I found these lime brown wool-like balls. I think it's lime brown, oh sorry, loops and thread, sorry, wool-like, which is basically their non-wool blend, or just acrylic I think. sock yarn. So there's smaller balls and cheaper. So, and I picked up a couple of embroidery hoops for hanging them from. And a couple of these skeins of grey. I thought I'd add some grey in with the rainbow colours to sort of just balance out the brightness. The only time she's happy to be in the carrier is after she's been in the stroller for a couple of hours. Jeez. Ready to go home? So I have a couple of things that need to be blocked. One is the hat, which I actually finished last night, so it took me a little over 2 days to do. One day to do the brim and the other day to just finish it off, do the rest of the body and finish off. It's all like crumpled up right now, as you can see. It doesn't look very nice, but once it's blocked you'll really be able to see the texture and the pattern a lot better. Obviously this sort of pattern will show up a lot better in a more tonal yarn, which is what the bulky weight version is in, but I wanted to show also what it would look like on a variegated. And this isn't like a heavily crazy colour variegated, this is all like same sort of tones and colours. Sorry about Layla, she's very excited about something. And yeah, and I also have another swatch to be blocked as well. This is for another sweater pattern that I have in mind, or a cardigan actually. So yeah, so I'm just gonna go block these two, or wash them. Yeah. Right, so you're probably wondering why I haven't used a wool wash. That's because mine's run out, and I was supposed to pick some up while we were out today, and I totally forgot. So I'm just leaving them to soak in water. You don't have to use wool wash, it's nice to use it to give it a nice smell and to make sure that, you know, it's properly clean, but for a swatch it doesn't particularly matter so much. And for the hat, well, water will have to do for now. I may reblock it later with wool wash if necessary, but there we go. Another tip with blocking is you really should let your stuff soak for at least 20 minutes. That really makes sure that it gives enough time for the water to absorb into the fibres and allow it to relax. And also what I do is, you saw earlier, I just give it a good squeeze when it's under the water to make sure that it's really taken up as much water as possible. Alright. So this is the hat I finished a couple of days ago now and blocked it yesterday. It's still a bit damp, so leaving it to dry a bit more, or dry completely. Sorry about the sniffling, allergies. And this was the swatch I did. This is literally the only knitting I did yesterday, was the swatch. So there we go. So today is Friday, it's the end of the week. Today's Friday the 4th, I think it is. Yes, Friday 4th of August. It has been a bit of a week. Oh, sorry, shaking the camera. We've got the camera sort of like propped up on a pile of knitting. But yeah, so just wanted to quickly check in. Let you guys do a bit of like a roundup of what I got up to this week. So since I last podcasted, which I believe was on Monday, I blocked the hat for my cousin that I showed you guys last time. This was out of the Richard de Vries yarn. And I did another swatch as well. So there was that. I started and finished another hat
This was out of the Dubai Knits yarn that my friend Josie brought with her. She dyes the yarn. This is on her worsted Cloud 9 base, she calls it. And I was reworking a couple of my old designs. So this is the hat pattern that I came up with last year, but I never got around to releasing it. Things just got a bit busy. So this is the second to largest size, so the third size in the pattern. So this is basically what I would consider the standard adult sized hat. This is the size of hat. This size hat should fit most heads. I mean, my dad has a pretty big head and this size hat fits him. Sorry, Layla keeps kicking the table and it's not rocking the camera. And this size of hat fits his head. So really, the only sort of adaptation you'll have to make is, I believe anyway, will be just length. But if you happen to be a person that has doesn't want like a really tight fitting hat on your head, then you might want to go up a size to the next size up in the pattern there. Sorry. Then you might want to go up to the next size up in the pattern to allow for like some extra looseness. I mean, after being blocked, I haven't tried this on yet, but pre-blocking it was a pretty nice snug fit, and after blocking it I can already see that it's bigger. Layla, I can already see that it's bigger, so it's definitely going to be a less snug fit now, but up to you. The options are there. And also this is a superwash yarn, so I guess if you're not using a superwash yarn, then there's also that to consider as well. And I have quite a bit left over from a 100-gram ball. There's like a good 30 grams left, and here comes Hugo. So I'm going to be making a pom-pom with that to go on top of the hat, because I think pom-poms are always fun. Hey Hugo? I think it's the first time. Oh, there you go, Layla, that's nice. Layla just reached out to stroke Hugo. That's the first time she's done that, like reaching out to touch one of the cats. Hey? Yeah, it'd be nice. Gentle. There you go. So there's that. I haven't actually had a whole lot of time for knitting this week because things have just been a little bit hectic. Oh, thank you for showing off your bum, Hugo. No one needs to see that. Up to his antics as always. And today, so yeah, literally yesterday, the only knitting I got done was this swatch. We had a really long day out. It was fun. Like, it's been a while since I've gone out during the day with Layla, like in the morning on my own. Typically when we go out, we just sort of stay in the neighborhood and go out in the afternoons after she's had her two big naps, well, two main naps of the day. But I decided yesterday there was a few things I wanted to get, and I needed to get some new clothes for Layla. She's outgrown most of her sort of like sleeping clothes. They're just too short for her now. She just grows too quickly. So whilst they're fine width-wise, Layla, be nice. Don't slap the cat. She didn't actually hit Hugo, she hit the table. I've also noticed as well, different stores, their sizes are really different when it comes to like children's clothing in terms of length and width and stuff. So there's definitely a few in there that she has plenty of time to grow into, and others that fit her better now. So, oh, thank you, Layla, gracing us with another burp. Today, I had a bit of time. She had a pretty good nap for lunch today, so I had a bit of time to cast on with this yarn, which is another Dubai Knits skein. This is on also on the worsted base, if it will focus. This is in the grey speckles colour. So it's basically a light grey base with all these different multicoloured speckles throughout, which basically, my friend Josie, she knows me very well. She knows what sort of things that I like, and this is right up my alley. And so this is the cowl version to go with the hat. And again, the cowl was actually done in DK, so I'm going to leave that version in the pattern as well. I'm also going to add the worsted weight version and notes on how you can adjust the sizing and how you can adjust based on the amount of yarn you have and adjust based on weight. Like, you can always do it with I think cowls are great because they're also really easily adaptable for different weights of yarn, but I will be putting notes in the pattern on how to do that, so you can be sure that you're getting the right size that you want to get if you are substituting yarn weights. That's pretty much it. Like I said, yesterday we went out. It was a long day, and to be quite honest, whilst it was productive and we did all the things that we needed to do, it was a little bit crap, to be quite honest. Literally, I was not even 1 block away from our apartment, when my phone fell out of my hand, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's completely smashed on the screen. Yeah, there you can see a little bit there. The screen's it's all over the screen, you just can't really see it very well on the camera. So that was annoying. Thankfully the phone still works perfectly fine, but it's just really annoying to have to deal with a broken screen. And then Layla refused to have her morning nap, which she never does. She always has a morning nap fine in the stroller. She went to sleep about an hour late, which just meant she was totally cranky the rest of the day. She just didn't sleep as well, and the whole day was kind of just went off plan. Then there were a couple of other things that went wrong as well, but those were the main things, and it was just like, you know what, as soon as my phone smashed, I should have just turned around and come home. I should have just been like, okay, the day's just not going well, and this is just, I should have known better. She had her first, I say, proper public meltdown in Trader Joe's, that was fun to deal with on my own. Usually there's two of us, one of us can take, or if there's someone with me, whether it's Perry or someone else, someone can take Layla and like go outside while I finish up or whatever. But yeah, so I had to deal with a very grumpy Layla in the checkout queue, which was interesting to say the least. Yeah, so that's it for now. I'll just sort of check in at the moment. I'll keep vlogging next week, and then I'll probably post this video as a podcast towards the end of next week, probably around Friday, which seems to have become what my usual podcasting day has been. The last episode went out on a different day just because Layla was sick a few days before it, so it just sort of threw everything off. But yeah, so there's that, and then tomorrow evening Jacqueline's coming around to babysit Layla, so Perry and I can have a night out. It's been a while actually. I think the last time Perry and I had a night out, just the two of us, was like when my mum was here, after Layla was first born, like when she was only like 2 weeks old. My mum looked after her one night, Perry and I went to the cinema. So we really haven't had a night off like that for a while. We've taken it in turns where he's gone out with his friends or I've gone out with my friends, either for the day or an evening or something, but it's been a while since we've both been able to go out together, so that'd be nice. Hugo seems to have decided that my pinwheel blanket is now his bed, so now well, it's probably my fault for leaving it laid out on the dining table, but he's having a good time with that. And here you can see the cracked screen on my phone better. So, quick outfit change for me and the Nugget, because let's just say someone had a little explosive situation with the nappy, which is probably one of only 2 times that's ever happened since she was born. So I kind of feel like we're doing pretty good in that regards. But yeah, we're just getting ready to head out. Just got home from our walk and grocery shopping, and she's still asleep. But look what came in the mail. This is the, if it will focus, this is the chapbook I was telling you about. I showed in my last podcast the ones that we got so far, and this is the 5th one's here now. So this is her 5th month book, and yeah, this was a fun month. My first 4th of July. Anyway, lots of really fun memories. I really like doing this. It's a fun and easy way to get photos printed and without having to use up loads of photo albums. So yeah, and as tradition, her last picture is one of her sleeping. Hey guys, so today's Saturday 5th. And I'm just heading out to a little coffee shop nearby that both of us actually, Perry and I, really enjoy it, and it's where we head to when we need some quiet time to work, and they have Wi-Fi, so it's actually a pretty good work environment, and they have really good coffee too, which sounds good. I'm a little bit out of breath because I'm carrying 2 rather heavy bags right now. One has yarn in it and some other bits, and the other one has my laptop and a couple of books and stuff like that. So I'm not expecting, I've got a ton of yarn with me, I'm not expecting to be able to get through all of it today, but no way at all, and nothing to pass on with the stuff in this bag. So it's more a case of, I'm not entirely sure which patterns or which projects I'm going to be making the most headway on, or I don't know how my time's going to be split over stuff, so I wanted to bring options basically to make most of the time that I have. And well, it's 8 AM now, and yeah, it's Perry's home with Layla today, whilst I'm out doing work. Just after 4 o'clock, so I've been at the cafe for about just over 8 hours. So yeah, a bit tired now, brain's a bit fried, but I actually got a lot of stuff done, which I'm really happy about. I've written up, like completely written up, draft version of one pattern, and sort of planned out, worked out the numbers for 2 more. So that was a lot more than I expected to get done today, so it's not too bad. I have 2 more that I want to work on, but I guess 3 for now is good enough. And I've done enough so that I can at least start casting on and start actually knitting them, which I can fit in around looking after Layla, and that's fine. I'll just have to keep notes of what I do, make any changes and stuff like that. And then hopefully in a couple more weeks, if not a whole day, at least a few hours, so I can sit down and type them up and make any changes. The only other thing I wanted to do today was to cast on a pair of vanilla socks. So I mentioned earlier in the vlog, I guess, that Jacqueline's coming over today to babysit for us tonight. So Perry and I can have a night out, which, to be honest, I'm really looking forward to. But I believe we're going to the cinema, so I need socks to knit on. And the only socks I have on the needles right now need heels, and they're not even plain vanilla, so I don't want to knit them in the cinema. So yeah. Okay, so I'm home now. Perry's taken Layla out for her afternoon nap, and I'm waiting for Jacqueline to get here, so I'm hoping to have enough time to cast on a pair of socks for the cinema tonight, like I mentioned earlier. This is a self-striping yarn, and I think it's one of these ones that sort of like does the colour blending for you, kind of does like one stripe of different colours. You'll see what I mean once I start knitting on it. When I was winding it, I could tell how it would knit up. And this is by a Turkish brand, Elise. It's a 75-25, I believe. Where is it? Yeah, 75-25 superwash wool and polyamide nylon. So that'll be going onto the needles for the cinema. It'll be a gift pair of socks, and because it's self-striping, I don't have to worry about it necessarily having to have a pattern. It won't look plain. So sorry, there's that. I'm gonna have something quick to eat as well, because I've not had all that much to eat today. So I get asked all the time how I managed to get my self-striping socks to match. So I thought I would quickly show you what I do. I've talked about it before on the podcast, but some people may have not seen it or whatever, for whatever reason. So I thought I would just show you. So I wind up the yarn into 2 50-gram cakes, or however, just split it in half roughly. It doesn't have to be exactly 50 grams. I've never used a full skein of yarn for a pair of socks. So I've used up to like 90 grams before for like a men's sock, but I've never used a whole skein, so it doesn't have to be an exact 50-50 split. And then I try and, well, if I want it to be like exactly matching with the same sort of color sequence in the same order, I will wind them up one after the other in the same sort of direction, so they should be going in the same color order. So then I pull out the center of both balls until I get to a color change. Okay, so here the color change, yeah, is around here. Sorry, it's not even at the moment. So basically I would normally, what I would do is line up the color change from both yarns together, and then I will trim one end if necessary. One of the skeins, if that has like a lot of yarn at the end of it, then I'll trim that end to sort of match roughly the same sort of length. And then what I do is I cast on at the color change. So the cast on ends up being whatever the color is at the tail, and the rest then goes into the color that's coming out of the ball. And then if I do that with the same for both socks when I cast them on, then
more often than not the stripes match pretty much perfectly. Sometimes there's like a half stripe difference, half row difference between the stripes, which isn't really all that noticeable once it's finished. Yeah. 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 Last night Jacqueline kindly babysat for us whilst Perry and I managed to go out, and we had a good time, went out to see film, and I recorded a few little snips. But now went out this morning with Jacqueline for breakfast with Layla and went to the park for a little bit. Now I'm home, Jacqueline's left, Layla's having a nap, and I finally get a chance to take a breath. It's been a bit of a busy morning. Last night wasn't particularly great for Layla. She was fine until we got home, and then from between midnight to 6 AM was a bit difficult with her. I don't know what, I think she's going through some sort of growth spurt or something at the moment, but anyway. I'm currently just knitting on a cowl, so this is going to be the cowl to match the hat that I showed you guys earlier, and the socks that I cast on yesterday that I showed you how I was casting on, and I thought they were going in the same colour direction, but as you can see they were going in opposite directions. They did start at the same point, so they started at the same point in the colour repeat, but they just were going in opposite directions, which I actually think still looks pretty cool. I do this quite often with self-striping socks. If I don't want to worry about the stripes lining up exactly, I kind of do them in opposite directions. That way they still look like they match, but then they don't have to be completely matchy-matchy. And I really like how this is knitting up. It's kind of doing this awesome fade thing on its own with the self-striping. So yeah, so that's really fun. Like I said, these are going to be a gift pair of socks, and they feel really autumnal as well. I love the colours.
Yeah. Oh, that was awesome. That was great. Just do that every time.
So today is Monday, start of the new week, and so today looks like it's a really grey and miserable rain day. It hasn't started raining yet, but it's forecast to rain all day, and it's really dark inside, which is all the lights are on, and it's still quite dark even with the lights on, so there's that. I finished the cowl to match with the hat that I showed you guys earlier, and so that's now soaking, waiting to be blocked. I finished that like late last night, just before we went to bed. So when I've got that blocking, I'll show it to you. And this is really a pattern and design both for the hat and the cowl
and the socks, which really do, they look a lot better once they've been blocked. Usually with hats and stuff, I would say in the patterns you don't have to block it if you don't want to, but with this one I really would recommend it. You don't have to pin it out or like shape it in any special way, but just letting it soak to relax those fibers really just gives a really nice finish to both the hat and the cowl. Like the cowl, when I finished it, I should have shown it to you before I put it in to soak, but it was really sort of scrunched up. I mean, it's not a lace pattern at all, but it's just the nature of the way the stitches are worked together that it just sort of like cinches in. But once you block it and soak it, then it's sort of nice and lays out nicely. And it stays that way once it's dried. Sorry. So other than that, which is now finished, the only other things that I have on the needles are 2 pairs of socks, which are back here, which I haven't actually touched since the last time I showed them to you. So there's not actually all that much progress on them. Well, actually there's no progress, and so I just have, I believe that's it. I think that's all I have on the needles right now, are 2 pairs of socks.
So yesterday while Jacqueline was here, we went to the park nearby with Layla and I took some photos of some upcoming designs. So while Layla's having her morning nap, I'm going through, picking out the ones that I like, and there's also a couple of Layla in there as well. And that one is really adorable. And yeah, so I'm just going through the pictures, narrowing them down, and then I will get to editing.
Right, so we are about just over 1 hour into Layla's lunch nap. I have not had a chance to do any knitting yet today. I was trying to edit some photos this morning, but she's been super cranky today. Like, she's been grumpy before, but this is like on a whole other level of grumpiness. And so it turns out she's teething, finally. And she was a bit grumpy the last couple of days, but nothing too serious, nothing worse than usual. And you really couldn't see anything in her mouth either. We were checking constantly to just check if it was teething or anything else, and there was nothing particularly obvious. And actually her eating has gotten a lot better in the last few days, so that wasn't really what I was thinking it was. And then today, this morning, she woke up, she was super cranky, she was acting like she was just really tired all of the time, and just wouldn't stop crying. Like, she stopped crying for little amounts of time, but she just got very grumpy all the time. And yeah, so I had a little look in her mouth, and there they were, 2 little teeth getting ready to come through, just about visible under her gums. So they're getting ready to pop through. I really hope they come through quickly. Perry leaves tomorrow, so he goes straight from work, so he leaves tomorrow for a work trip, so he goes to work in the morning and then he heads straight to the airport. He doesn't have a chance to come home first, so he's leaving tomorrow morning and he doesn't get back till Thursday night, quite late. So I basically have 3 whole days with Layla, a teething baby, on my own. That's gonna be fun. So fingers crossed her teeth will come through quickly and it won't be too painful. So I have a feeling it's gonna be a very, very long week.
Alright, so this is the cowl, all nicely blocking. See, it's got the same stitch pattern as the hat did. You can see it a lot clearer on this because this lays flat. And again, it looks a lot clearer on a more tonal, solid background than a variegated or speckled, but you can still see the pattern really clearly. I have a teething baby. We discovered this morning that Miss Layla is teething. She has 2 little teeth ready to pop out on her bottom jaw. And so today is a 2 coffee day for me because I'm exhausted. The last 2 nights have been pretty difficult with her. She's had not the best sleep, and it's affected both me and Perry. So I'm feeling pretty tired today, and definitely need a second cup of coffee. Yeah, you seem pretty happy with yourself. She's just had an almost 2.5 hour nap, so she should be pretty well rested by now, which is a little bit longer than I let her sleep normally, but she's not feeling too great, so I think she needs to rest. Yeah. So I'm just sorting through some scraps while Layla keeps me company. Hello. Yeah. And yeah, just enjoying her new toy. And yeah, so I mentioned before that I was planning on making something for my, I don't actually know if I mentioned it before, I thought I had, that I was wanting to make a mobile for my sister-in-law out of pom-poms for her baby. And I picked up some embroidery hoops, as you can see there, from Michael's when I went last week, and I just came home, and I say just came home. When I came home, I realised I was originally planning on just doing rainbow colours because I thought, you know, that would fit in with most nursery schemes. But then I thought, you know what, maybe she has a specific colour scheme in mind that she wants to use, and so I thought I'd ask her. It was originally supposed to be just a surprise, but I thought she might want to have some input on the colours. I know I would, so I asked her if she wanted any specific colours or anything, and she picked out sort of, well, she sent me a couple of inspiration pictures that she had, and this was the general sort of colour scheme in them. Yeah. And so I pulled all together all the scraps that I had in those colours. There's all sorts in here, everything from like worsted down to fingering, and I sent her a picture, and I'm just waiting to hear back from her if there's any colours that she'd rather I not include. I mean, I'm not going to do pom-poms out of all of these colours, but this is just everything that fits in with the colour schemes that she sent me. Mostly tonals. I think there's a couple of speckles in there, but so yeah, I'm just waiting to hear back from her. These 3 are from my course that I got the other day to sort of round out some of the colours I had.
Morning guys. So yesterday was a bit rough. Layla was teething and it was frankly quite a miserable day, but I mean, she was okay for the most part, but she was getting very grumpy very quickly. You can see her in her little bouncy toy thing. I never know what to call that. But yeah, so not a whole ton of knitting got done yesterday. I think I knit a couple of rows on a pair of socks whilst I was editing some pictures, and last night in the evening I started a new baby design. It's gonna be sort of like a t-shirt vest type top, but I ended up ripping it out about 2 times and starting again. Goes to show that I really shouldn't start a new design project at 10 PM when I've spent all day dealing with a teething baby. So so very little progress made on that one, other than casting on and doing the neckband. But I just wanted to quickly check in and show you guys how some things have developed since the last time I checked in.
So this is the top that I'm working on. It was originally just going to be a plain vest, but it's now going to be more of like a t-shirt style top out of DK yarn, and I've just added a simple texture pattern to it. And like I said, I started this last night, but because I decided to change how I was going to do it, I had to go back and rip it out, and then made a couple of other modifications and had to rip out a couple more times. Serves me right for wanting to start a design at 10 PM. And yeah, that's how far I've got so far. I mean, last night when I left it, I'd only done the ribbing, and so far this morning I've done this much, and now Layla's sleeping for her lunch nap, and I'm gonna keep going, see how far I can get. The lovely fun yarn, there's lots of really fun primary colours in there. It's by Unplanned Peacock, and this is the Lippy colourway. There's a little bit of pooling going on, but honestly, you know what, for a children's garment, it's really, I really don't mind. I mean, if it was for me, I probably would be a little bit like concerned, but it's really not that bad.
Okay, so as you can see, Layla's awake now. She's just practicing her sitting up next to me here. Okay. Chewing on her favourite toys. And yeah, I've decided, finally, I'm a bit late at doing this, to get round to packaging all of the prizes that I have to send out. I am woefully behind on sending out prizes, so I apologise profusely. I said I was going to send them all out by Friday. That just didn't happen. And oh, where you go? It's a bit wonky there. But yeah, I'm going to package them up now, and then when I take Layla out this afternoon, I say this afternoon, it's already 4 o'clock, in a bit, I'll go to the post office and hopefully get all of these mailed off to you guys. So apologies, like huge apologies for it being so late, but I hope you guys can understand. So yeah, I guess I better get to it.
Layla's in the stroller. We're ready to go. Alright, so we just got back home from going to the post office, and I picked up some mail that came for me from downstairs. I mean, it was waiting for me downstairs. And it's a KnitCrate box. It's August KnitCrate box, so I can get everything out of the bag. I get the card. I'm going to do a separate video sort of review of this as I've done every month, but just make sure there's nothing left in there. Okay. So I guess the theme this month is vintage. It's the artisan crate. The theme is vintage. And what they've sent are three balls of this super chunky, bulky yarn. Let the focus. There we go. Sugar Bush Chill. 100 grams, 48 meters, 52 yards. Yeah, pretty bulky. And I believe, yeah, it's made in Canada, so that's interesting. That's fun. And yeah, 100% extra fine merino. This is 3 balls of that. Let's have a quick look at what the card says. There's a couple of patterns and some extras. So the patterns are, there's this cowl, which is the beginner pattern, and this, is that a shawl? I'm just trying to see. I think that's a shawl. It's the intermediate advanced pattern. And this is a little extra. It's a set of postcards from Red Fox Designs. These are really cute. I'm not sure if they're all the same or not. I'll just open it up really quickly and have a check and let you know. So it's actually a set of 4 different postcards. Yeah? Yeah? You find that funny? And yeah, they're really cute. Look at these. Pugs and Kisses, Hey Foxy, David Meowie. That's really cute. And You've got to be kidding me, right? Meow. Kitten me, sorry. That's really adorable. These are all really, really cute. Layla, you've got an arm stuck under there holding on to the toy. Is that Layla? Is that Layla? Is that Layla in the camera? Yeah. So I've been working on this top design that I talked about earlier today, and I'm part way down the body, almost to the end. I've got about another inch to go before the bottom ribbing, and I'm looking at it now and it looks a little bit bigger than the size I was going for. I was going for a 12-month size, and this is measuring up at the moment, pre-blocking, closer to the 2-year size. And by my calculations, the 2-year size will need more than one skein, and I think that's going to be a bit of an issue because I only have the one skein and I'm this close to the end, and I still, like I said, I still have an inch to go plus ribbing, so about another couple of inches on the body, and I still need to go back and finish the ribbing on the sleeves. So I don't think I'm going to have enough. I probably will just about have enough to finish the body, but I'm not going to have enough to go back and finish off the sleeves. Now if I'd done the ribbing at the top here in a contrasting colour, I could have done the other ribbing in a contrasting colour as well, and that would have been fine. I could have finished it, but because I haven't, I think it would look strange if I now change and do the ribbing in an alternative colour and have this one be the same as the body one. It would just look a little bit strange. But maybe if I finish the body with this and the bottom ribbing and then just do the sleeve cuffs in a different colour, maybe that wouldn't look so strange. I don't know. I think I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to stop now. I'm not going to continue knitting because I have a feeling I'm probably going to be ripping most of this out and starting again. I'm not too concerned because other than the little bit of ribbing at the top, I knit the rest of this all today. So it's basically just one day's work, mostly in the evening. I finished all the raglan increases during the day, and this evening after Layla went to bed I've knit all of this, so the last few rows before splitting the sleeves and body. So I like how it's turned out. I don't think my maths was wrong, I just think my gauge is a bit different now than it was when I did the gauge swatch, and so it's just turned out slightly bigger than I had intended. So yeah, I'm going to sleep on it, think about what I'm going to do tomorrow morning. I may either rip out or not, depends how things go, and I'll make a decision then.
Morning guys. So like I said last night, that I think this is turning out a little bit bigger than I'd anticipated, and I held it up against Layla now, and I know it's not intended for her size now, it's intended for a size in like a few months time, but it's still a lot bigger. So then I compared it to a couple of the other things that I've knit her in a 6 to 12 month or around a 12-month size, and this definitely looks like it's a little bit bigger than those. It's a little bit bigger in the arms at least. I mean, I haven't picked up all the stitches yet, so it will probably get a little bit smaller, but and the width is about the same or a little bit wider, and so I'm pretty sure this is more of a 12 to 2 year size, which is fine. I don't mind. It can be a little bit baggier on her this year, and then it'll fit her next year as well. But my issue is now with yarn. I'm pretty sure I'm going to run out of this yarn. If I need to knit it to a decent enough length for it to be a 2 year size, I'm not going to have enough yarn to do the ribbing at the bottom and the ribbing on the sleeves. So I went stash diving to see what I had in my scraps. I don't have anything like full balls that would be suitable, but I pulled out these neutrals. These are, I think this one's a sport weight, this is Quince & Co Chickadee, and I think like going for a neutral for the ribbing on the cuffs and bottom could work, and this one is a leftover from Primrose Yarn Company on her Jasper DK in Snow Owl, which this is the leftover from what I did for the Mystery Knit Along shawl. She's just rolling around all over the place. So this could also work. It's a little bit paler than that one, but there's a little bit more of it, so there's that. But I think I will probably go for this one. This is Fibre Company Cumbria. I can't remember the colorway name, but I used this for the Mystery Knit Along we did in January, the Cozy Schlanket, so I re-knit it with everyone for the Mystery Knit Along, and I think this actually matches sort of like the pinky red color in the yarn already pretty well. So I think that is probably what I'm going to use, because then I can use it for the bottom and the sleeve cuffs and it won't look too strange. Okay, so you can see here I finished off the bottom ribbing in the Cumbria yarn from Fibre Company, and I've picked up and I've done one sleeve cuff. When I tried this on, the sleeve was quite wide for her, so I kind of did a couple of decreases just to cinch that in a bit more. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this has turned out to be more of a 2-year-old size. I was going for a 1-year-old size, but I think my maths might have been a little bit off for the sizing calculations, so I'm going to have to go back and rework some of those numbers, which is fine. It's kind of why you knit up a sample and stuff, and you learn things from the whole process. And I've done a stretchy bind off on the cuff and at the bottom here. I really like using Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. People say a lot that they don't like the way it comes out, like it flares, but you just don't do it loosely. That's like the one bind off is stretchy by nature, so you don't need to add stretch by doing it looser. As you can see, I haven't woven in any of my ends yet. I typically would have woven in ends as I go along, but because I'm a little bit unsure about the finished size, I'm going to finish off the other sleeve cap, just the ribbing, sorry, the other sleeve cuff, and this only literally took like 20 minutes, it's really quick. I'm going to then try it on Layla once she wakes up from her nap, just see how big it is, then I'm going to block it and see what blocking does to it, and then I'll make a decision from there.
It's sort of magenta pink, sort of matches the sort of pinky red in the main yarn really, really well. And this was, like I said, Fibre Company Cumbria. This is actually the worsted base, but it's quite a thin worsted weight. As you can see, it's not a very plump worsted weight, so it actually works really well with the DK. So while I wait for Layla to finish having her nap, she's got another 45 minutes or so, I contacted, well, Amber from Makers Haven posted on Instagram yesterday that she was looking for test knitters for just to try out a cuff pattern for a pair of socks that she'd come up with. And so Amber and I had been talking quite a bit lately, so I offered to help her out by testing that out. It's a pretty quick turnaround. It's not something overly complicated, but I thought I'd give her a hand. She made some beautiful kits for the Road to Rhyback mystery knit along, so I thought I could repay the favour. And so I decided, I've had this yarn caked up for a while now, not too long, about a month or so, waiting to be cast on for a pair of socks for myself. I just haven't had a chance yet to cast them on because I want to do a patterns sock, one of the New York Sock Club patterns, and so far I've either been knitting socks for Perry for his birthday in a couple of weeks, or just plain vanilla socks for like the cinema or just whatever reason. So this has been waiting to be cast on, so I think I'm going to, so this is little narwhal needlework, the yarn, and I picked this up at Vogue Knitting Live this year. So this is their Vogue Knitting Live special colourway. It's called Lil Narwhal in the Big City, and it's on their Ravenwood base, which is a tweed. You got all the details there, and yeah, so looking forward to getting that cast on. And yeah, so I'm only going to knit the cuffs, maybe only one cuff before she wakes up. We will see how far we get, but I probably won't be continuing with those socks for a while, but Amber said that's fine, she just needs the cuff tested. So so yeah, I'm going to do that and I'll show you what that looks like. Well, so as you can see, it's a little bit big on her. It's like at least a couple of inches, I'd say more like 4 inches overall wide for her. Too wide for her. I mean, it's like 2 inches on either side extra that I can pinch, which is fine. I'm not so worried about the width because she can grow into that. It looks a bit more like a t-shirt dress type situation right now. The sleeves are definitely quite big, but again, you know what, this is probably something she can wear for a few years because it's quite long at the moment and I haven't blocked it yet, but I'm not mad about it. I was a bit concerned at first about it being too big, but once it's on her, I mean, it definitely looks too big on her, but I think this would be this is a pretty good, like 1 to 2 year size overall. So she'll probably get to wear this probably towards the end of winter, this coming winter, so around January, February next year. Probably will be able to fit her a lot nicer. I don't mind that it's not like, originally my idea was that this was going to be quite a tight fitting top, but I'm starting to change my mind about it and I'm going to go with a slightly looser fit and making a few modifications based on how this one has turned out and just getting some ideas on where this design is going to go. This is sometimes what happens with the design process, for me anyway. You start out with a specific idea, you've worked it all out, worked out the maths, you knit up your sample and it doesn't quite work out how you expected, but it still works out to be something usable. So I think we're going to make lemonade out of the lemons, and we're going to go with it. Hey Bubba, and she is just rolling around. Alright, so little Miss Layla's cut her first tooth today, and yeah, it's been a pretty busy couple of weeks for you, hasn't it, Nugget? Yep, so she's cut her first tooth, started solids, started rolling, transitioned into a sleeping bag for all of her naps and overnight. What else have you been up to, huh? It's been a lot going on. what I'm trying to contend with when I put Layla's clothes back on after changing her nappy. Hey, you gonna let go of my arm? Oh, okay, that's starting to hurt. You're pinching. Yeah. Yeah. So I have 3 pairs of socks in varying stages of progress. So this pair is ready for heels. I've done my mini heel flap actually. I just need to get going with the heels. This is probably about 20 rows away from the heel. And this one I've just started the cuffs. I started these cuffs last night. These were the ones I was telling you about. I was testing out a cuff pattern for Amber from Maker's Haven. And look how pretty that is. It's a beautiful lacy cuff for a pair of socks. I guess you could also use this. I think this would also be really beautiful on like a cuff for a pair of mittens. It's really lovely. It's a very simple cuff pattern as well, but it has a very effective result. And yeah, I think that's rather beautiful. So I've done those. Like I said, those socks will probably go on hold for a while until these 2 are finished, or at least until one of these are finished, and then I'll pick that one back up again. I just have a lot of other things I want to be working on right now. And you could probably hear Layla in the background of that last clip. She's just over here bouncing around. Well, she was bouncing a moment ago. Oh, she's got hiccups. Yeah? She loves the bouncy chair. I think we need to take it up a little. It seems to be a bit too low down for her now. She won't stop growing. So I have Layla, who's now decided to join me. She got tired of the bouncy seat, I guess. And yeah, so I'm just trying to work out some maths and calculations for that. The baby sweater that I finished yesterday and showed you guys, the one that's a little bit too big. So I'm just trying to rework some of the maths and figure out where it went wrong. Well, not so much where, actually I know where it went wrong, the sleeves. The sleeves are the only bit that are really too big, and because of that then the body ended up being too big. So I've just going back, redoing some of the maths, and I think my gauge was actually different when I knit it up than in the swatch that I did. Possibly because I'd swatched in stockinette and I ended up deciding to put a texture pattern on, and I think that changed the gauge, as it would tend to do. So learnt my lesson there, and yeah, so I'm going to try another version of that pattern soon. Yeah. I think basically I was going for a gauge of 5 stitches per inch, and with the texture pattern pre-blocking anyway, I got a gauge of about 4.5 stitches per inch, which doesn't sound like a massive difference. Oops, sorry, I'm just trying to balance you here. Which doesn't sound like a huge difference, but obviously it was enough to make quite a difference in the overall size. Okay, let me try it. I am precariously balancing you on my coffee mug. Okay, you can't see my face, so that's fine, because you probably just want to see Layla anyway. But I just wanted to show you what yarn I was going to use for the second version. I actually have a lovely dyer reach out to offer yarn support for this pattern, so until that comes I wanted to do another version it's a very quick knit anyway, so I wanted to do another version just to check out the maths and make sure that everything was going okay. And I have these 2 skeins of, I think it's Primrose Yarn Company, it is Primrose Yarn Company, sorry, on the Sophia base, which is her MCN in the lemongrass colourway. Now their is fingering weight, but I'm going to hold it double. And I was knitting this pattern to a worsted weight gauge, but out of DK yarn, just so it wouldn't be so heavy. So even though fingering weight held double typically is more of a worsted weight gauge, it should still work fine. But I'm just gonna, like I said, this is just another trial run to make sure that it's gonna work. I'm going to swatch with this yarn held together, and I will do it in the texture pattern, so hopefully this time we won't have the same issue we had last time with sizing. And also I'm going to try a different neckline version that I want to include in the pattern to see how that turns out as well. So just a little bit more trialing things out to see what happens with that. And yeah, I think that's going to be what happens with that for now. Yeah, you want to do my maths for me, Layla? Can you do Mummy's maths for her? and you know, then I could just sit back and knit. Yeah? Sound good? I realise this this week's podcast, or vlog podcast or whatever, is going to be very much Layla based, but I'm sure you guys won't mind. In fact, I'm pretty sure you guys would prefer that. But in any case, it would be interesting to know what you guys think of this format, and if you liked it, if you didn't like it. How would you feel if I did something like this every other week, every other episode, I mean, and alternated between an episode like this and an episode where I just do a sit down episode and go through everything? I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. We have Hugo Nappins here. I was reading that book to Layla earlier. Hey Hugo. Hey guys. So I've decided that I'm going to actually edit this all together, this week's podcast, I guess, tonight. So today will be the last day that I record stuff, and I realised there's a couple of things I haven't really talked to you guys about yet. And well, actually one thing in particular. We actually so you guys know that well, if you've been watching for a while, you will know that we're in the US on a 1-year visa, and Perry applied, or my husband, his work applied on his behalf for a more long-term work visa for us. And I think I'd explained before that it's basically a lottery system. It's not there's not someone there sitting there evaluating each application to decide whether or not the person gets a visa. Everyone who qualifies goes into essentially a big hat, and names are pulled out, and there's a certain number of visas each year to give out, and there are so many applicants. So I mean, Perry's chance of getting a visa was pretty much 50-50, so we knew that our chances weren't any better than anyone else's, basically. And unfortunately we didn't get one. We've known now actually for a few weeks. I just for some reason keep forgetting to mention it. So I don't know, I try not to think about it too much. It's not it wasn't completely unexpected. About a week before we got the official notice, Perry was chasing up with his work immigration team, I guess, the people who deal with these visas and stuff, and they told him that if they hadn't heard already about it, then it probably wasn't going to be good news. So there's that. So yeah, what that means for us is that we're going to have to move again. We don't know where we're going. We don't know, you know, what we're going to be doing. It's all a little bit up in the air. It basically, we're just having a big deja vu to where we were last year, about, you know, same sort of situation we were in last year. Last summer, we knew we were moving, we didn't know where we were going. It was all a bit up in the air, so I don't know. Perry's following some leads, and I'm not really going to talk much more about it on the podcast, I don't think, until we know what we're doing, because quite frankly right now there's really nothing more that I can say about it, other than our current visa runs out 2 days before Layla's first birthday, but I believe that there is some wiggle room that we can stay for like a few weeks extra before we have to like absolutely leave. Just Perry won't be able to work after that date. So depending when he gets a job, what job he gets, whether, I don't know, we don't know yet when we would be moving. We may end up moving before the end of the visa, just because, I don't know, they might want him to start earlier, or the beginning of the year or something. So yeah, this is our one and only year in New York for now. Who knows, maybe one day we'll get to come back. We'll see. Like I said, there's not really that much else I can say. Like I said, I wasn't completely surprised, and Perry was devastated. He was so upset about it all, because I felt the same way, but I think he felt it a lot more than I did. I think because we hadn't heard in so long, I was starting to prepare myself for bad news. And you know what? I figure at least this time I'm not pregnant. There's not that added stress to it, because it was pretty stressful moving whilst pregnant. Although moving with a baby isn't going to be that much easier, but you know, at least someone can come out. You know, we could always get a family member to come out and help if we needed it. Whereas when I'm pregnant, there's not really much that someone else can do. You know, at least someone else can come out and look after Layla or something if we need to get stuff done. But I mean, that's just a, you know, in case. We don't even know what we need right now. But yeah, so it's a
it was a bit stressful for about a week. Perry was quite down about it, and like I said, he was quite upset. We both feel really at home here, so I think we were both looking forward to just sticking around for a while and not having to move again for a while and just stay put basically. But seems like that's not on the cards, so we have another move coming up at some point once we figure out where we're going. I mean, the obvious choice would be to go back to the UK, but especially now with Layla and stuff, it would be nice to be closer to family. But at the end of it, we just have to see what happens, and I will update you guys once we actually know where we're going. But so this year will be my first time going to Rhyback, and possibly my last for a long time, so it depends where we go, to be honest. So we'll see. There's that. And yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to tell you guys. I'm sorry about the weird lighting. Our apartment is west facing, so we don't get any light in the well, we get some light, but it's not direct light or very bright light in the mornings, and the afternoons is when we get really nice light in this apartment. So I have to have some lamps on to actually be able to see what I'm doing when I'm knitting. I've just had some lunch, Layla's napping, and I'm about to get started on some socks. I'm probably going to do the heels on the green socks for Perry, because I want to get those done for his birthday. And yeah, we'll see how far I get before she wakes up. We have heels! Finally! These have been waiting for heels for a while now. So since the last time I podcast, it turns out, I was just checking, because I feel like I haven't actually done all that much knitting since the last time I podcast. Like, I've had days where I barely touched my knitting at all. Yeah, and some days just felt like they've flown by and haven't had a chance to do anything. And last weekend on Saturday, when I went out to the coffee shop, I just did work, and I say work, I worked on patterns and did lots of maths stuff. I didn't do any knitting. I did a tiny bit of knitting where I was trying out a stitch pattern to see how it worked, but then I ripped it out. So it's not like I did any actual tangible knitting that day either. So yeah, it's just been a very, well, it felt like to me that it's been a very low amount of knitting done. Not a lot of knitting done in the last couple of weeks, but just sitting down going through my spreadsheet. I have my yarn spreadsheet where I keep track of projects and my yarn and my stash and stuff like that. Since my last podcast, I now have 3 finished objects and 3 works in progress, so I guess substantially more knitting than I had felt that I had done. I mean, one is the baby sort of t-shirt sweater that I finished yesterday, and the other 2 are the hat and cowl set, which I was explaining that I'd reworked for a worsted weight, and the 3 works in progress are the 3 pairs of socks that I showed you earlier today. So not too bad. Still feel like it could have been better, but I'm not being too hard on myself. These last 2 weeks have been pretty busy, mostly with Layla. She's gone through a ton of changes recently. You probably know from having watched the whole episode up until now, but in the last 2 weeks, she started solids, she's learnt to roll over, she now sleeps on her tummy, and then gets very angry when because she can't roll back yet. So I'm waking up several times in a night just to roll her back onto her side or her back when she gets angry because she can't roll back over. Then what else? She's popped her first tooth, and she's had days where she's just been really miserable, days when she's been happy. It's been a bit of a roller coaster with her the last couple of weeks, but things are heading in a good direction now. She seems to be happier. She's popped 1 tooth, the second tooth, the one next to it, is looking like it's about to come any day now. Today she was a little bit grumpier than usual, and she's just woken up from her nap. I'm hoping she'll go back to sleep for another half an hour, but we will see. I might have to go get her a bit early. But yeah, she's been doing alright, to be honest. But it just means I don't have a lot of downtime. Alright, so I just wanted to do a quick little check-in because I'm not sure how much more knitting I'm going to get done today to record and show you guys. So I'm just going to do a quick little overview of what I would like to achieve by the next time that I sit down to do a podcast or do another one of these vlogs. I think for the next one I'm going to try and do a regular sit down podcast and just see how that goes until I hear back from you guys and see whether you like this way or not. So yeah, I'm just going to show you.
So I'd like to get another version of this knit up to just double check with the gauge and my numbers, and I've actually done a swatch. I did that this morning between Layla's morning nap and when she went down for lunch. And as you can actually, I don't know how well you can see, but I can see it in real life. This section with the texture is definitely a looser gauge than this section up here in stockinette. Now I'd gauged in stockinette, I'd done my swatch in stockinette, and I knit the texture pattern because I hadn't actually decided until I started the design that I was going to do the texture pattern. So lesson learned, I should have gone back and swatched again in the texture, because even before it's dried I can see here that this end is definitely wider than this end at the top. Same size needles as I used for this one. So, and I had a feeling that it was the texture pattern that made this looser than my original swatch. So re-swatched. I'm going to wait till this dries and this dries to double check gauge on both, and then finalize my maths on the pattern and recast on out of the primrose yarn that I showed you earlier as like a second test run. Then I've got the 2 pairs of socks that I'm working on. This one is the green socks for Perry. I've just finished the heels now while Layla had her lunch nap, and I'm going to hopefully have this finished by the next time I record. And I would love to be past the heels on this one, which is the vanilla socks I cast on for the cinema. And those are the socks that I cast on, and I've just done the cuffs. I'm not too concerned about getting those done anytime soon. So that one's going on the back burner for a little bit, just because I have a few other things I want to get done. I also want to get started on these pom-poms for my sister-in-law's baby. I just haven't had a chance yet. I would also love to get started on this design. Now I've pretty much drafted out quite roughly this pattern. I've come up with this is a crochet edging at the bottom here, and it's actually on all the edges of the sleeve and at the neckband as well, where my aunt threaded through this braided yarn to act as a tie at the back. Now I'm actually going to try and replicate this, but instead of having a crochet edge, I've found a knit stitch pattern that looks like it would work really well in place of this. I mean, it doesn't look exactly the same. This is like a crocheted shell stitch, I think, or scallop edge, but it has a very similar look. It gives that sort of effect at the edge, which I think would be quite nice, and it would also work as eyelets, I guess, for you to thread through either a braided cord like this one or an I-cord, or even you could probably attach a button and use the first hole as a buttonhole. So there will be options on how to do that as well. But I'd really love to get started on a version of this as well soon. This is the back and this is the front. Yeah, I really love how this has turned out. How this has turned out. I'm really liking how the pattern is looking right now before I've even started knitting on it, but I have a feeling that there's going to be some recalculation required with this one as well, but we will see. And the last thing I would like to at least get started is this blanket for my sister-in-law, again for her baby. I mentioned that I was planning on doing a crocheted baby blanket for her in these sort of Christmassy colours because she is due a Christmas baby, and I thought this would be a really fun colours for a baby. We don't know whether it's a boy or girl yet, not that I think that particularly matters, but because it's a Christmas baby, I thought Christmas colours would be quite fitting for a Christmas baby. So I think that pretty much covers it in terms of everything I wanted to get done. I have a couple of other designs that I'm working on which I would love to get a start on, but if I don't, I feel like this is plenty to keep me going for now. Ha. I'm just getting Layla ready for bed, and I just wanted to show you guys her cute little nightie. I couldn't help myself. I've been trying to, when I've had to get her new sleep suits, been trying to replace them with zip-up ones rather than button ones, just because she's getting bigger now and there are more and more buttons, at least snaps rather. But this one was so cute with the little sheep, I couldn't help myself. So, yep, she's a little lamb. Yeah, ready for bed. Alright, so I think this is it. Layla's down. Well, I'm just waiting for her to fall asleep, but she's in bed. And I'm just gonna have some dinner, wait for Perry to get home. He gets home tonight from his business trip.
and I'm exhausted. It has been a long and tiring couple of weeks, but yeah, so that's it for this episode. I hope you have enjoyed the slightly different format, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I have over 2 hours worth of footage to go through and edit. It's not going to be 2 hours long, but there is over 2 hours worth of footage. So I think if I do this again, I might need to edit as I go along, so like every couple of days. Hello Hugo, he's just come up to say hi. So yeah, I might have to, Hugo, I might have to edit as I go along next time, because it seems like it's pretty daunting to edit what is now 10 days worth of footage. Ow, Hugo. Alright, I think that's my sign to sign off, and I will see you guys in a couple of weeks. I think the next one I'll do a regular sit down podcast, and yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. Say bye. Say bye, Hugo.